So what I'd like to do is introduce myself first. I am Terry Mobbs, manager of Mississippi International Sports Destination, Coastal Property Developers, and Green Product Supply. Those will come important later as the presentation moves forward. So one of the things I wanted to do was to reference why Mississippi. And the reason I do this always first, because that's the number one question that's always brought to me. Why Mississippi? No way Mississippi. These units would never come here. You don't have the infrastructure for it. You don't have the database for it. No way in the world. Well, it makes a lot of sense that Mississippi is the only place where you can hold this. For example, when you're bringing 240 countries around the world, ice sports, all these different entities with the movie producers, when you bring all of these entities here, you have to have a way to get to them. So on the interstate corridor, that alleviates all of the east-west traffic on Interstate 10. You're in the middle of the United States. You can go north on Highway 49. The biggest factor was not the transportation in the United States, it was air traffic. So one of the problems that we had to do initially was how do we travel and bring all of these people in from around the world to these events and to host all of these projects. Well, number one, Mississippi has a Gulfport airport. In that, they're operating at about 20% capacity. But most importantly, Mississippi sits between New Orleans and Mobile. So now, as this project grows, which is designed to be a 10-year growth cycle, as this grows, all of the entities are going to be maxed out. So this way, it opens multiple opportunities. So that was the reason we logistically chose Mississippi. The second thing was, well, you don't have enough hotel rooms. No, we do not. But what Mississippi has, we do have enough land to build new hotels. And that's better than going to an established area that has old hotels that are run down. They don't meet the standards of what we require, because this is a year-round training facility, year-round place to hold events for movie production, water surfing. So these entities have to have a variety of different hotels. Some are extended stay for the ones that come here for 3 months, so forth. Some are condo rental units that are here for up to a year. Some of them are homes. So we have to regulate what the demand is to ensure that we don't have a working capacity that we're over-electing onto someone else. So it's very important that we control those factors. So one of my partners that's going to be here later is Fleet Gonzalez. Fleet Gonzalez is out of Florida, and Fleet works with Hospitality Trade Program. His partner is Jay Patel, who's on the governor's board for Florida. Jay is the creator of a whole hotels. In that, he also created the All Black Hotel Owners Association and All Hispanic Hotel Owners Association. So once we demonstrated that we had the events and we had the demand, I was ensured that whatever those were, that we would go through their database as hotel entrepreneurs. Second thing was, well, some of these events are going to require 22,000 rooms. We don't have that. Also, what's going to be required is how do you feed these people? What's your restaurants? We don't have that capability here. But again, the beautiful thing is that we have the vacant land, we have the infrastructure in, and we have that database that we can fill those requirements. Those requirements are what? Some have to be 4-star. Some have to be in and out quickly, because if you're bringing your daughter here for gymnastics or ice hockey event or whatever that may be, as you know, you've been to other locations, well, you have to get in and out quickly. So sometimes we have to regulate specifically not just the type of restaurant or hotel, but where that demand needs to be so they feed off of each other. So that was one of the things that was most important. The other thing that I present to people when I travel is, what about your infrastructure? That's not a problem. Katrina took care of that. We have more than enough infrastructure here to handle the growth and demand. So as we go through all of these, it comes to the point where Mississippi makes the best choice of all. But you don't have the population to support these. Yes, we do. We have the population because all of these things that we're going to present to you today will bring people here. It's not to come here and feed off the economic impact here. This is to bring people here for all of these entities. That's the difference. So in that, I wanted to discuss strategic partnerships and strategic alliances, totally different entities. A strategic partnership is a partnership. And I'll give you an example. Since Mississippi International Sports Destination owns the 419 acres we're about to show you, we own that property. As that property goes up in value, then all of those entities, from the construction company to the landowner to the GPS, which is our green product supplier, we supply everything. So as we work a relationship with the movie producers, our boss, Wasted Energy, what that does is that increased value of bringing the infrastructure, that increases the value of the property. And also by us building it, we roll those profits back in. Everyone has their own independent funding. But what that does, that helps them, when they go get their funding, either it's through the traditional form or investors do not have to take that risk that a normal lender would have to do because of the equity values there by what we supply. That is a strategic partner. Now, what's the difference between a strategic ally? Easy. Is that when this project grows, which you're going to see, we're looking at potential in a 10-year growth, and we're going to bring in somewhere between 8 to 14 million people a year. It's not here now. Now, what does that mean? Strategic partnerships and strategic allies. Allies are people like Mary Mahoney, the casinos, the Infinity Center out at NASA, other locations that we want to market as one of our strategic partners. That's the difference between the two of them. We're not partnerships, but we want to take the best of what Mississippi has to offer, and we're going to put it into our database. So if you're in another country or you're in a part of the United States, you come to Mississippi, you're going to go to one marketing website. So if you're coming here for aquatics or whatever it may be, you can go online a year in advance. You can see the schedule, book your rooms. You can also see what the local entertainment has. Well, hey, we can go down to the coast. I've already talked to Fishing Chart. So these are all allies that when you come to that database, now you're in a position that you can plan your whole event around that. One of the other problems that we've had on the Mississippi Gulf Coast with conventions, people love to come to Mississippi. Problem, it's not family oriented. Now that's important because of the fact that in conventions, they're going other places because there's things to do. They would love to come here with the families or the husbands are in the conventions. Now you have a place to go. On the casinos, when we work with the casinos, they have VIP packages. And what does that mean? Well, by a strategic alliance with the casinos, what we will do, we will strategically sit with them and we will offer golfing packages, events to what we're offering at that time, all the strategic partnerships. So if you have VIPs in your casino and you want to get them to come here, now you can offer them packages. The other things that we do for an alliance, since all of these entities from restaurants to hotels and so forth, we want as an alliance partner. On that database, if you register here because you're an alliance partner, you can get discounts on all these other entities because we want to control the product, quality of the product. We want to make sure that it runs smoothly. We also want to make sure that everyone has a good time and goes back and tell everyone else. We have to market Mississippi. This is not our project. This is our project. And by strategic alliance and partnerships, we have the opportunity to take the whole Mississippi Gulf Coast and turn every single on and off ramp all the way into New Orleans and all the way into Mobile. And that's why some of the people that are on streaming right now are some of our allies. Why is that important? Because on the growth cycle, how we promote it, two factors are number one. What is the most important factor in business, any type of business? It's not the product. You can have the best car in the world, and you put it in your garage, and you don't sell it, you don't promote it, it's not going to happen. What do we have to offer that nobody else has to offer? We're going to show you through this orientation. The importance of that is that each one of these, as you're going to find out, and I want everyone, as we move forward this presentation, if you don't get anything else out of it, every single one of these, you notice the marketing potential. Okay? That's greatly important. You're going to anything else in any one of these, it's the marketing potential. The reason is because when we launch this, we have the IASF, which is the Aquatics Training Center. We have ICC, which is the ICE programs. We have the movie producers. We have surfers. We have Boss Alliance. We're also working with Southern University, educational programs and all these. When we stage to promote this on a certain date at a certain time, everyone goes enter all around the whole world. Everyone's going to know about Mississippi. You can't buy that. That's the most important factor to bring the economic impact, jobs, investments, is that worldwide recognition that we're here. Mississippi already has a database. It's a great place to come. And we are here and we want you to come and you're going to see an explosion like you've never seen before. So on that, what I really like to do is go back to some of the educational programs and why we did that. All of these facilities, not only are they very unique in their own, and they also have the best technology and the most skilled people in all these industries. We realize that when you bring athletes to a facility by past history, if it's ice or if it's aquatics, these kids all dream that they're going to be the next great Wayne Gretzky. It doesn't really happen. So what do we look at differently? How we tie this together? Not only is this a year-round training facility for all of these, this is also an educational program. So when you come here, and you may come here for ice or whatever it may be, we have database systems so you can have live streaming for education. And that's why we tie relationships with the University of Southern Mississippi. Now we have that database that we can interact with a local university as a partnership for educational programs. So what I wanted to do was to address the project update. So we're in basically phase one. We're about to roll to phase two. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so here you see the 419 acres. This is on Highway 67 in proximity, probably related to local people on the coast, which would be the Catholic High School traditions. And the 419 acres, as you can see, it's not a master plan, it's a conception master plan, because daily we're getting more and more people calling us wanting to be part of this project. And let me give you an example of a strategic alliance. I had been contacted by a very large company that wanted to be part of this, and I refused them. Why would I refuse money? Why would I refuse a project? Because they wanted to put a water park in. No. I am a strategic partner, and Gulfport has a water park. So what I told them was, as a strategic partnership, when this moves forward, I'm going to approach the city of Gulfport. I'm going to approach that water park and say, guys, look at what we're doing. I could have put a water park in, but let me help educate you on the growth that's coming here. Let me help you to meet your demand. That's a strategic partnership. They wanted to put golf carts in, go-karts. I said, no, we already had that on the golf course. We're not going to compete with our neighbors and strategic partners. We're going to help them. That's the difference. That's what those two entities mean. So as we go through this, a couple things I want to elaborate on, because you're going to ask questions, and I'm trying to defer all of your questions until the end. So just write them down or just keep track of them and answer your questions. One of the things is, how big is this project? $2.2 billion. Do you have the funds to finance that? Each one of these entities are separate entities. They come with some of their own financing. But let's go back to what I was referring to as a strategic partnership. The facility out here right now only has water. So for what we're paying for that property, it's still a large value of property still associated with that. And I'll give you an example. I don't want to give numbers what we paid for or what other people in their proximity has paid for. So we know we have 5 times the value of comps in that same area as it is today. So a couple of things that we've done is that we strategically plan the appraisal value of that property today. By all of these improvements that are coming in, which we'll get down that road, but as we go through internet service, which we agreed upon, main sewer line, 2.5 miles coming in. We've been in negotiations with the natural gas company and made a gas line in there. All of those entities greatly increase the value of that property. And then, like I said, the fact that we're the contractors, the developers, then we can qualify for all the state grants and other things that can help with educational grants, tourism grants. Those are all great value. So what I wanted to do was to go over the status of where the property is today. And this is our concept. So if you look at the top left-hand corner, which is the green area around the lake there, that is a upscale community, gated specifically. Now, why would we take a portion of the lake that's being created for a community? It was upon demand. We have to reach these demands to support our partners. Now, as you see some of the other pictures coming up, but the reason we did that was because when you bring movie producers here, when you bring athletes from around the world, you bring politicians, you bring people that status, they needed a gated community. We're also working with USM, with NC4, which is Homeland Security. They are requiring for statues of this type of clientele, we have to have them secured. That's why you see a gated community. We only have 1 hotel on site, and you see that up at the top where it's yellow on the main highway. Why only 1 hotel? Because we had to maximize that property. We have sister sites, but for the main hub, we had to have a 4-star hotel because of the clientele I just referred to coming in. They also requested to have an indoor water park. So we don't want hotels on the site, but what we are going to do, we're working with condominium developers. So if you want to buy a condo for 4 or 5 and you wanted to rent them out, we control the management rights. And the reason we do that is because we can make sure those condos are built, they meet our standard, and at the same time, now we internet the whole program together. So it doesn't matter if you're coming here for movies or if you're coming here for water or whatever it may be, sports, we can control that and control those demands. The other thing that we decided to do as you go past to the south on that, the same side, those are townhomes. So we had to have that infrastructure in there because of some of the infrastructure will support the other projects that are in there. Once you get down to the bottom, on the bottom left-hand side, as you look at it, you'll see a waste-to-energy plant. We have decided not only to promote Mississippi for an international sports destination, movie production, we've also decided to make this thing as possibly green and off the grid as we can. Boss Alliance who's here now, they're going to disclose that. So what does that mean? That means we take garbage, waste from our project, we turn it into energy on site, and this project is totally off the grid. It's grid tied, we'll discuss that, but it's totally off the grid. Second thing that we did was by bringing in building products and systems to GPS, using autoclaved aerated concrete, LED lights, energy harmonic conditioners, and other technology, each individual building becomes energy efficient. Next thing that we did was we have water purification systems. So to alleviate the pressure from the water use, the condensation from the air conditioners and the rainwater can be recycled back as gray water for flush toilets, or it can be used to water your gardens, for landscaping, or it can actually be recycled back through a certain system that has a UV bulb that burns out all the bacteria and germs. So I've challenged everyone to totally think out of the box. And as you go through some of the presentations, you'll understand what I'm referring to. To the right of that big gray area, that is 75 acres that we are deeding to the IASF organization. And the reason we did that was multiple because they're going to be launching their website. But part of that is because we need to support an entity like that. So we did it as a tax write-off and to support their project. So that's where the aquatic training facility is going. If you look at the blue area to the next of that, that is what we call our town square. Every development needs a town square. So what does that mean? That means when you come into the facility, you have the lake. The part of that lake is already there, by the way. You've seen some of the pictures. Part of it's being formed now to make a giant lake. That's all condos and some retail around that. But the town square is where you want to go for all the entertainment, for all of the restaurants, for that network of what we're going to be showing you today. So that's our town square. And that's what Crystal Lagoons is. And Dave McPherson will be discussing that. We also have, as you see, the smaller blue square, that's Lock Surf. The technology out of California is going to be putting a surf system in there. LA Productions at the top of that in blue, that little box as you go around the circle, that's their facility, and they'll inform you of that. This little small box to the right of that, that's Twin Ice Pads, and we are designing that specifically for ice sports. To the green area next to that, that's going to be more condominiums for the athletes to come in and stay. And then, of course, above that, you see other areas which we're going to plan for other entertainment like Fast Eddies and others, which you'll see at a later date. So on that, can we go to the next slide? Now, what you're going to see is an aerial view of the 419 acres. Everything in yellow, as you'll see, and it's an existing dirt pit, which to the benefit of us, it already has a man-made lake on it. They're forming another lake, which is specifically being dredged to our demands, which you'll see. But it also has a dirt pit. So when we go to construction, we have our own dirt pit. We save those funds. Next slide. This is what it basically looks like out there today. If you were on site, we walked it yesterday. So you can see the lake that's there now. And then to the bottom part on the right-hand side, you see how they're forming Lake 2, which would be breached, and make one large lake. The lake is approximately 22 acres, which will have retail and condos around it. You see the other two areas in the middle, those are areas that are being leveled now, and those will be houses, condos, retail. So this is the work that's basically being done out there now. Next slide. So at this point, what I want to do is get into the infrastructure and what we are doing out there to make this project so impressive. Some of the things that we're looking at on our economic impact, we have not accumulated all of the job creation at this point because we do not know how many restaurants out there. But right now, just as what we've already have anchored in, we're looking at 5,900 jobs, permanent jobs. Second thing is, we're also looking to have 7,500 jobs by the time this site alone is completed. In a 10-year cycle, upon how we work together as strategic partners, then we'll be in a position that we could potentially reach 20,000 jobs across the Mississippi Gulf Coast. So on that, what I wanted to do was, Jason, can you come up? Jason is the Vice President of C Spires. So one of the hurdles that we always had was there's no service out there. And that's why we got the land so cheap. But I'm okay because I would rather put infrastructure in to meet our demands. Now, I'll give you an example. This is Jason Thomas from C Spire. So in that, we were approached by putting internet service out there. Some of the hurdles were staggering. First one was when we were approached by Verizon to be our internet server out there, I refused. Why would you refuse Verizon? Two factors: strategic partnerships, Mississippi-based company. Second thing was I wanted to ensure that a company could meet our demand. And what does that mean? Well, when I first met with Jason and his group, it was very impressive. Number one, there were probably 15 people in the room, and I guess the most impressive part, the technology, their wisdom, their knowledge, their projection for growth cycle. I don't think any in that room was over 30. It was very, very refreshing. So in that, we started to go through demands. The first thing I did, I introduced them to IASF, ASF in their phased cycles as they move forward when they reach their potential, they're looking at ABC, NBC, ESPN, Wire World of Sports, and SEC University Broadcasting from there. On top of that, with all the students that will be here, they have live streaming capacities. So once they assured me that they could meet those demands, then I introduced them to LA Productions. In LA Productions, they actually live stream from one country or part of another instruments at the same time. They blend them in. They have to have that database. On that phone call, they had secured everything that we need. So what I want to do at this point is the first, what I feel the most important infrastructure that we have an alliance with. I want to introduce you to Jason Thomas, Vice President of C-Spire. And Jason, could you elaborate on relationships?
Sure, but I do want to start out, I want to go on record, I am over the age of 30, so I do want to say that. But yeah, Terry, it's been great working with you these past couple months, and if you're from Mississippi, odds are you know who C-Spire is, or you probably have some of our services, and if you're not, I want to give a little bit of history just about the company and the services that we do provide. And so we were founded in 1988, we are headquartered in Jackson, Mississippi, and that's why we're so excited about this project, because there's no sort of projects that we like working on more than projects that stay in Mississippi and bring more business and employees to Mississippi. And so today we've got about 2,000 employees. We've got data centers across the Southeast, and the little marks that you see up here on the slide, these are our corporate offices across the Southeast. So we've got offices obviously in Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. And then the main thing I want to touch on today is our fiber infrastructure. We've got over 11,000 miles of fiber. So if you go to the next slide, if you don't mind, this is our fiber map. And if you think about this like the major highway, this is our major highway of fiber. And so to give a little history, about 10 to 12 years ago, well, we started as a wireless provider. So we're the largest privately held cell phone provider. So we had all these cell phone towers across the state of Mississippi, and we decided to connect all of them with buried fiber. We felt that it was very important to create a bunch of redundancy. So if there was a fiber cut, all of our cell phone customers wouldn't lose service. So we built out this major highway of fiber. Then about 8 to 9 years ago, we started selling that fiber to the business, and it turned into our C-Spire business channel. Off of this fiber as well, we also have a fiber to the home department. So our main 3 line of businesses are wireless, cell phones, fiber to the home, and then C-Spire business. And so what happens here is if you zoom in on this map, on our fiber map, you would see a bunch of laterals coming off of this. Laterals to the business, laterals to the home. And we've just created an immense fiber of redundancy across the state of Mississippi. And so if you go to the next slide, if you don't mind. So what we're doing with this project is earlier this year, we actually won a state contract to provide fiber services to all the government entities across the state of Mississippi, all the state agencies. And so we're actually running fiber down the main road here, right across from where this project will be. And so we will be running fiber down that road and then running it into the facility here. And so what we typically do is we follow the water lines or the gas lines and run our fiber next to that. So as the facilities or businesses need services, we would work with them on a one-on-one basis, understand what their needs were, and then provide the fiber internet, the cloud services, data center services that they need from there. So I just want to touch on a couple things here. When we talk about the businesses and facilities that are coming out here, one of the main needs is data center and cloud service needs. So we've got a Tier 3 plus data center in Starkville, Mississippi, which is just an ideal location for businesses on the coast. So, as we know, this area is hit hard with storms and hurricanes. And so as you back up your data, you want that to be far enough away to where that weather doesn't affect it. Starkville is the perfect location for that. But it's also close enough to where if you need to make a change, you can get there in a day and come back. We also provide voice services. So voice over IP phones, just an interesting way to say desk phone, and then also dial tone if you have your own phone system. And then internet connectivity, which is going to be the main fiber infrastructure going in here. So when we talk about the condos and townhomes and homes going out here, we provide gigabit internet to the homes. And then when you talk about the businesses and facilities coming out here, we can provide anything from 10 megabits per second all the way up to 10 gigabits per second to those businesses. So again, We have a couple other resources here. Russell Delp, who's our sales director in South Mississippi, and Lauren Keenan, who's our account manager for this area. So anyone that has questions about, hey, can y'all do this, can y'all do that? Odds are, from an IT perspective, we can, but we would work with y'all on an individual basis to bring y'all that.
Jason is not aware of what I'm about to do. So in that, I wanted to let everyone know that Mississippi International Sports Destination is dedicated 100% to Mississippi employees, jobs, and businesses. So what I have for you, Jason, is a signed contract. To all of you at C-Spire that are doing this, congratulations. Job well done. Next person I want to bring up is Bobby. Bobby, can you come up, please? Bobby is our designer engineer on site with Terry Moran. I have a long relationship with Bobby. I've been a general contractor, real estate developer. He's always handled all of my business. And what I like about Bobby is his vast knowledge of what we're trying to do, his support. And once again, I'm going to turn it over to Bobby Heinrich, and he can go over some of the questions, no questions, but some of the information that you may need as far as zoning, permitting, and all that. Bobby?
My name is Bobby Heinrich. I'm not quite 30 years old yet. No, I'm a little bit older. But anyway, yes, Terry and I go way back. We've done several projects together, done a lot of things. And so anyway, I'm happy to say that I've been asked to be a part of this project. Can't wait to get the ball rolling here. It's again, it's a beautiful piece of property, but I'm just going to kind of give you some steps of where we are with the project as far as the development aspect. There's a lot of steps we need to do so we can break ground on these buildings. As I said, my name is Bobby Heinrich. My wife and I own Heinrich & Associates in Gulfport, Mississippi. We're a residential commercial design firm. We've been in business for about 12 years now on our own. But anyway, my engineering partner, Terry Moran, which is trying to be here today, he's in Bay St. Louis right now. He's going to try and get here. But he and I will be the project manager, the engineer, and the surveyor for the development property. The property, again, is approximately 419 acres, currently zoned agricultural. We'll have to rezone the property to commercial and residential. Located on Highway 67 in Harrison County, it's about 10 miles north of the I-10-15, Highway 15 interchange. Just right here in just north of D'Iberville, about 10 miles north. And it's just outside the city limits of Biloxi and Gulfport. The property will be surveyed upon the completion of a wetland delineation. It's another step we have to do. We have to make sure the Corps is happy with us when we develop a piece of property to keep those protected. And then the rezone process will begin in Harrison County. The development will be serviced with nearby municipal water, and we're working on the sewer with the Harrison County Utility District. Also with the other utilities such as C-Spire, gas, telephone, cable, will be available to the development. We're estimating 15 to 20 commercial parcels to break out these different entities that are coming in here, as Terry was mentioning, which would have the businesses, the hotels, the restaurants, and the retail shops we spoke of. Just by numbers and measuring and looking for units per acre, we're looking at about 125 single-family homes that we'd like to put into your all gated communities, 100 townhomes and about 375 condos will be planned for this project. And as I said, they'll be within a gated communities. Currently, right now, as you can see where that lake is, there's a dirt pit in production right now. That will end, I think, the 1st of December, if I'm not mistaken there. The pit will transform into light recreational 20-acre lake, and also will be used for stormwater runoff that we would have to, we got to be able to make BQ and Harrison County happy with that. Again, I'm happy to be a part of this development, and as Terry said, I can answer anything about the property that you may have. I'll be around for a little while. I'd like to also introduce my son, Josh, and his friend Sarah Studd. They are both going to graduate here this December, graduating from USM with a media and entertainment arts degree in film. So I wanted to bring those along. Terry invited them to come and be a part of this. And, I think they will be happy to fill out an application if there's one. So anyway, good to meet all y'all, see all y'all. And if you have any questions, I'll be around to answer.
So now all the boring stuff's aside. You ready for some fun? All right. Okay, let's go back, if you wouldn't mind, please. There you go. So going back to the energy supply source for this, and I'm going to bring the smart guys up. This is where it gets fun. Like I always challenge everyone, this is the opportunity to think out of the box. If it's our project or Interstate 10, or if it's the Infinity Center, or if it's another city like Diamond Head, we're going to approach everyone about supporting this as a strategic partner, a strategic alliance. Think out of the box. So what they basically did, come on up, Kim. So what they basically did, when I found these gentlemen, I had looked at other systems. By far, their technology and their experience overwhelmed everyone else. And like I said, these people have their own financial. We're the developer, but we're going to partner with them. So on that, one of the things that we asked them to do was not only think out of the box, but to design it for educational programs. That's our number one goal. So I'm going to turn it over to them just to show you how intelligent these gentlemen are. When I said think out of the box, I knew that we needed something from Mississippi. So if you're going to build a box, they came back and said, why don't we make it look like a paddle boat? That's a great idea. Now we can showcase Mississippi. So I'm going to turn it over to these gentlemen, it's Boss Alliance, Gene and Glenn, and I'm going to let them educate you on what they've done and the reason this project is so impressive.
Thank you, Terry. I love the box. I'd like to introduce Ben Munsford. My name is Gene Slaughter. I'm the CEO, Minister Technical Vice President. We do waste energy plants, and waste energy plants typically look like a factory, and they'll have a stack. And the good thing about waste energy is stacks are typically clean versus coal plants. So Terry says, well, create a theme. I'm thinking, okay, then, and my wife is our COO, very creative, very small sometimes. Our challenge was, well, how do we disguise these stacks? There's only a number of waste energy plants in the United States. There's none, to our knowledge, in Mississippi. We have to have stacks, even though the emissions coming out of these stacks is extremely clean. There's no visible emission. We meet every single EPA and environmental standard around the world many times over. So I went to my wife, who was an artist and a very creative lady, and I said, well, maybe we could do a castle or something, make these stacks look like a turret. And she said, well, how about a steamboat? And that's where the paddle wheeler came. So that from that paddle wheeler, the technology grew into processing waste very cleanly, but also giving people an opportunity to see how trash can be processed cleanly. Unfortunately, most trash in the world today is not handled very clean. It's a dirty job. It's a very hazardous job. So we come up with a system which is very detailed, very complex, and we can explain it in the 101 later on. Otherwise, I could be here for an hour and a half at that time. So we decided that let's do a paddle wheeler. We'll do a multi-deck. It's going to be a very large vessel. It's not really a vessel. It's going to be a factory that processes waste into energy It'll have the appearance that you see on the slide of a paddle wheel. There'll be inner decks and outer decks, and the outer decks, tourists will be able to view it and see the operations. We can do educational programs there, apprenticeship programs for training of employees, and then also training and in the technologies. So I'm very excited about this opportunity to do something like this and be able to show the world how these type of facilities don't have to look like a factory with a staff on it. It's going to be entertaining. We'll have the ability to teach and to train and bring the universities in if they would like to demonstrate it. And the very final thing to do about the panel wheel itself, and we named it the SS Megawatt Mill. It was kind of a challenge when we come up with that name, but it makes sense. We make megawatts of power. We make megawatts of green power. We process trash in a way that you normally wouldn't expect. A lot of us have been to landfills, a lot of us have been to transfer stations, and typically what you see is a dirty operation. Imagine being able to witness waste coming in there that's baled and wrapped, and it's totally clean. You'll never smell it, see raw trash being processed. They'd be loaded into the chambers and converted. It's a conversion process. Converted from waste solids to gas. We capture the gas, we combust the gas in clean chambers, create heat, use the heat to create steam, drive steam turbines. That's where the electrical energy comes from. Then you want to pick up a little bit on this?
Thank you, Gene. Thank you, Terry. Great project. In July of 2017, we were invited to a commissioning for the Louganis energy technology. It was through the remote waste station, which is a smaller scale than a waste-to-energy plant, and it's designed basically for medical waste treatment. But today, it's all about solid waste and more. Waste-to-energy plant operations are going to be the saving grace for our environment. Our land is precious, and the technology we can extend the life of a landfill by 9 times for this type of operation. We will always need landfills for our yard waste, and what waste we do construct will be reduced to 93 to 95% volume. On arrival, the loading of the primary chambers was underway already, and there was an independent lab there to monitor the stack emissions, and we had the Louganis energy engineer there. Another independent lab had designed a recipe for this system to put it through its paces and basically try to make it fail. One thing that they said, they put 50 brand new spruce 2x4s in it. They ran a garden hose in it for about 5 minutes, and then they added about 5 gallons of cooking oil. With the Louganis technology, we do not separate or sort our trash, but we recycle that again, like all the metals and the glass and the ash to be recycled and used again. One of the things that they did to try and make this system difficult to do its job, they loaded the chambers to the brim full, and they actually had to have people jumping up and down on it to compact it. Normally, we load a chamber 75 to 80%. With the chamber full, they got the door closed finally and turned the key, push the button, and the process began. At 450 degrees, the auto combustion begins. At 850 degrees, the burners are supplying enough heat just to keep it up in that range, and the auto combustion is fully underway. Burners come on and off for short periods of time to keep these temperatures up. The Louganis engineer then explained some of the control box and some of its workings to do with that. The chambers loaded and cycle underway, we met for a Q&A with teams. This is a closed loop system with the trash treated in primary chambers. Toxins are moved from there onto a secondary chamber where they're combusted. At 1900 to 2000 degrees, we capture that gas and make the heat. And with this closed system, We also collect 40 to 45% more in volume of heat to do electricity supply 24/7. Late the next day, when we returned here, the process was taking longer due to the overfilling the primary chambers and the high moisture content. Most cycles take 16 to 18 hours, and depending on the feedstock or the trash. There was no visible stack emissions, and all we could see was the heat wave. I noticed a sight glass at the end of the secondary chamber, and naturally, curiosity, I was up and looking in it. I was really surprised. I moved in slowly, and I actually was in about 6 to 8 inches of that sight glass. I could feel hardly any heat at all, but I could still see, what was going on inside the chamber, cooking all those toxins and whatnot. We met the independent team monitoring the stack emissions in their supervisor. They had an enormous amount of testing equipment outside on the table near a small trailer, and we walked in the trailer, and good Lord, there had to be 3 or 4 more times equipment, and they were monitoring everything that's going on. Emissions at the Barrel Basket plant opened with the EPA monitoring the stack emissions quarterly many years ago. After a short time, the EPA changed that to quarterly because of all the great emission readings they were getting. Today, there have been over 60 EPA reviews of this system, and they have all beat EPA standards. The supervisor of the stack emissions has been on the job for 18 years and said he's never seen a stack this clean. The documents engineer explained how quiet it is in the primary chambers. And in another day, another process, he had put a stack of newspapers in the corner of the primary chamber. And when the cycle was over, they opened the door, and he freaked out. This pile of papers were still there. They walked in the chamber, and he told me, he said, I could literally read that front page of that newspaper. And when he stuck his finger in the center of it, it just fell to the floor in hot ash. So it's very quiet inside. You're not stirring up all those toxins to be going out into the fluid and whatnot. It all goes to that secondary chamber, protecting our environment. Boston Wines has taken a very clean operation with Louganis energy technology and made it even more so. Along with the idea of Gene talking about the bales, no odors, no smell, no leaking leachate and whatnot, no visible trash being moved in and out of the project. It's all pluses for everybody.
Just a quick summary. Is that what Glenn described is a very detailed description of the process. The main thing that we address is taking a product, basically raw garbage, and turning it into a fuel. So instead of buying coal and buying natural gas to create electrical power, which is not green power, we take trash, which is green material, green energy, and we end up with green power in it. And so we take a waste product and turn it into a product which every one of us can use in our homes, and eliminating 97% of the material that goes into all that. So thank you everyone for your time. Thank you, Terry. We'll be available for questions if you have any questions for us. Feel free.
Gentlemen, I have another question for you. What's the potential megawatt power out of the plant that's going on our site?
Okay.
What's the potential megawatt of power out of that plant that's going on our site?
Oh, it's going to be 150 megawatts of power with 2,000 tons of trash. So we can scale it up or scale it down based on how much trash.
And there is a substation on that site, right next to where they're at. That's the reason we put them at that point. When I ask people to think out of the box, this is the prime example. Well, I made a mistake with these gentlemen because they came back and said, we need another 5 acres. If you need another 5 acres, we're partnering with you for 20 acres. What do you need another 5 acres for? Well, we want to make the governor and everybody in Mississippi very happy. All right, tell me what you got. Well, what we're going to do is on the back side of the moat, it goes 3/4 away around the facility. On the backside, it's going to be like it's docked and moored, like it's on the Mississippi River. But what do you need the 5 acres for? Because we're going to do another version of Jackson Square. We can promote food, industries, music, so everything's going to be on that backside. So I told them, you have your 5 acres. So those are some of the things that they had left off the presentation. We're very pleased to have them, and things like this that you're going to see, we have to keep in mind not just the products, not just the systems, the marketing. So when we market this project, it's going to enhance all of these. So let's go to the next slide, please. So, okay, what this is, we have a relationship with General Atomics. And what we needed was a people mover out there. If we're going to do this, and we're going to have a people mover, I was associated with another company that was not really happy with the standard. So on this relationship, what we're doing in phase 1, if you park on the facility, just like at Disney, you're going to be able to get on this system and go through the park. This train floats. Now, how in the world does a train float? Easy. Because on the bottom of a train, it's a positive magnet. The track has a positive magnet. And how does it move forward without engines? Negative magnets in the track pulls it forward. It also stops it. So when we reached out to every segment that we wanted for this project, we reached out to the best industries, the smart minds, and we asked them specifically to think out of the box. So we go to the next one. Now, what we're going to do now is we were privileged through our network of people to come across Rick and Paul in Los Angeles. So these are the movie producers that are going to be relocating to our site in Los Angeles. And they're going to be live streaming. Can you bring them on?
Yeah, 1 second.
And I think you're going to be very, very impressed.
All right, Paul.
Every segment of this,
Audio on,
we
Paul.
reached out to the best of the best.
Rick's going to start.
All right, go ahead and talk, Paul.
Hi, testing 1, 2, 3. Paul Crowder, Los Angeles, checking in.
We're good, thank you.
Hey, Paul, thank you for joining us today. Can you do a presentation of your facility? Why is it so special? What's the difference? What does it bring to the Mississippi Gulf Coast?
Absolutely. I'm actually, hello everybody. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having us. And it's so exciting to be a part of this incredible project and what it can bring to everybody and to especially to the state of Mississippi. I'm going to hand over first of all to Rick Markman, the main partner with me on this, the other company of Matter Music. He's going to start off the presentation and then hand back to me.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Hello?
We hear you.
Yeah? Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Markman. I am a co-founder of Matter Music in Los Angeles. I want to say good afternoon to everybody from beautiful California. We're very excited to be invited into this equation by Terry. What we plan to do doesn't quite exist anywhere in the world, so let me explain as much as I can. We want to bring a state-of-the-art film facility to Mississippi, and we want to bring the know-how that goes along with that with us as well, and to train and to integrate heavily with the educational institutions locally, and to bring up to speed the film business in your state. We plan to do that by building a facility on the site, which would be able to do any aspect of film production and visual media, anything from TikTok videos all the way to feature films, series, regional news, any kind of sporting events coverage, and anything in between. There's an inherent abundance of storytelling to be told just within the facility. We're talking about thousands of athletes being there at any given time. Along with them come their coaches, their entourages. There's so much to draw from. And what we want to do is the music and film business is becoming a very multitask world. So we have to be able to meet the demands of that world going forward. And with strategic partners like C-Spire and all the other people involved with this, I think that's going to make it a reality for us to be able to, me being in California, Paul being in London, our talent being in Mississippi, for us to all be able to interact and work almost in a real-time scenario. You can go to the next slide too, if you can hear me, guys. Our experience in film and TV and documentary making and all aspects is pretty vast, and it's really, really hard to teach that in a bubble. So what we want to do is bring the people who have actually done these projects and done work at this level. We will be bringing those people with us to this facility. And what we want to do is we want to teach, we want to train, we want to get a standalone Mississippi film business where we can produce anything, like I mentioned before. You can keep scrolling through those slides if you want, just to show examples of our work. But so, well, along with the education, along with these incredibly interesting strategic partners, I think we could make a really exciting destination, because a lot of what I do in our work, it has to be a desirable place that we go to work, to do our work. We spend endless hours. It's a very labor intensive job. So the better the facility, even something like the better the restaurants, the better the sightseeing. Like Terry was talking about, collaborating with fishing charters. All of that contributes to making this place a great place to be at, to work. And that's what we want to bring to you. So I'm going to let my dear colleague, Paul Crowder, have a chat with you about his ideas of the MISD LA Productions collaboration. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you, Rick. Hello again, everybody. I'm Paul Crowder, originally from London, England. I moved to Los Angeles in 1939, invited by Stevie Nicks. I was a musician, I was on tour, ended up opening for Stevie Nicks on tour, and she invited me to LA to do some demos with her. I ended up staying in Los Angeles. I'm now married to 2 beautiful daughters who are also in the industry. And I met Rick on the second film I ever made, which was with Stacey Peralta. The next slide, if the Riding Giant slide is up. We met during that project, and we have been working ever since. We've worked together on probably over 20 films together. I started Diamond Docs in 2006 with my good friend Mark Monroe, and we wanted to make a company that made films, made documentaries primarily, but made them in the fashion of as if you're watching a movie. So it was always a 3-act play, and it always had the arc or the idea that it's a comedy, it's a thriller, it's a drama or whatever. So we always try to make our documentaries in that vein, and we've been immensely successful. I grew up, very luckily, in the industry, in the music industry. My father worked for Paul McCartney. If you pull up slide 10, please. I've known Paul my whole life, and I worked with Paul very indirectly in the end while I was working on The Last Play at Shea, with a film that I did with Billy Joel, and Paul McCartney was the final guest. So I worked with him on that, and then Sound City came up, which is me and Paul in the other pictures where that's taken. And we did, that was done in 2012, that came up, and then I since went on to do the Paul McCartney movie. You can hold up there if you like. There you go, Last Play at Shea. But anyway, we've got lots of people that we have worked with: Ron Howard, Martin Scorsese, Dave Grohl, Roger Daltrey, the people of The Who, and we've grown this reputation. We've won many Oscars with films like Icarus won the Oscar, and The Cove won the Oscar, both films that were done by Diamond Docs. We've got over 40 films. We've done 20 of them with Rick, and we just have we believe we can bring all this to Mississippi. That's what's really exciting about it. I'm currently working with Paul McCartney again on another project that I just started this week. We could be doing that there if the facility was up and running. So that's the kind of stature we want to bring. What we've learned, both Rick and I, over the years, is we've worked at many, many facilities in doing all this, and we have come to realize that what makes a place great is not only the fact that it can achieve what you want technically, but it's a place you want to be at, a place you want to hang out at. As you can see from my office, I like to make my office a home away from home. I want our facility to feel that, to have that kind of thing about it where people want to be there. And in the end, in 20 years, we will be a full film studio that will be in the reign of Paramount or in that kind of size, that kind of prestige. We have the ability with the land available and everything that we can expand and bring sound stages, etc., and backlots to the area. So it becomes a full sought-after place where we have a film location. And that will also entice the companies that supply filmmaking, like the camera lenses, etc., and the lighting companies and the sound equipment, etc., the cameras. So those companies would want to bring the outlets here if there's a large community. So all that is what we are having our goals to do. And as Rick was saying, the idea is to make it self-sufficient. This is Mississippi, and it will be people from Mississippi working here in the end, filtered through the system and bringing as much talent as we can from all over the world and bring it to Mississippi and have everybody learn from that. Also, talking about marketing, as Terry was, what we would like to do is also we're going to make a documentary about the complex, the building of the complex, but also weave the story about the state of Mississippi. We would use the complex as a backdrop and bring the rich history of Mississippi, the creation of it, into sort of like a 21st century community. We'd like to highlight the themes of incredible local resilience. In talking with Terry and Lauren and many people during this last 12 months of this, we have found out so much wonderful information about how much community and strength there is within the community to overcome, especially things like Katrina and Camille many years ago as well. So we'd like to also include all the historical influence and all the people who have come from Mississippi and brought so much to the world. You know, great people like Elvis Presley, Oprah Winfrey, Robert Johnson, Brett Favre, Walter Payton, Jerry Rice. You've got William Faulkner, Tennessee Williams. I mean, there's a plethora of fantastic people that show this rich history. So I believe this documentary could weave these stories beautifully and use the complex as a backdrop to show the growth of Mississippi, and that would be a very positive thing for us as well. So with all that said, I can't tell you how excited I am. Very, very much looking forward to relocating as soon as possible, and we're just very excited to be a part of this project. So I'm going to hand back to Rick real quickly just to wrap us up. But thanks, everybody, and thanks for listening. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks a lot, Paul. That was great. And just to expand on Paul's, that we're going to be a self-sustaining and one-stop shop, we're not without precedent here. In recent years, in the last decade or so, Sydney, Brisbane, South Africa, Cape Town, there's all these places in the world that have become forces of nature in the film business. And like Paul was saying, backlots just that could compete with Universal Studios here in LA or Shepparton's. I mean, what we could do in Mississippi, given the location and the beautiful surroundings, I think the sky is the limit. Anyway, thanks for having us today. We've enjoyed listening to everybody else's talks, and we'll stick around. Back to you, Terry.
Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it. So are we having fun yet? Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure no one's sleeping from this, all right? Okay, so as you can see, and one of my opening statements was in reference to the marketing potential of this project. You cannot buy the marketing potential of this project. So next guest, I'm not sure if he's on or not. He was having difficulty. Lock Wave Pool, is Scott on? Is Scott Polar on?
Yeah, he's there.
Yes, here.
Scott, how are you? It's Terry.
I'm doing well. Pleasure to be here and join everybody.
Great. Would you like to do a quick introduction of yourself? And we have a gentleman here that's very excited about surfing. I won't tell you who he is, but that's all he's been talking about since he launched the course. But go ahead. Can you explain your system and what you're going to be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, my name is Scott Poehler. I'm the VP of Business Development for SurfLock. We're based here in San Diego, California. And interested, still in the early stages of figuring out which concept that I could show a presentation and some videos of different types of surf systems. But essentially, we create man-made surfing waves, world-class surfing waves that typically people fly around the world for, except you can put them anywhere in the world. Using a similar technology called pneumatics. It's the same wave technology that was used to power the world, like 95% of the world's water park wave pools. So we're just using pressurized air to manipulate water and create waves. We can do waves from 2 feet for beginners, people learning how to surf, all the way up to 10 feet that, for the most advanced surfers in the world. Can I share a video? Is that possible to do a screen share?
Yeah.
And let me know if this works. I just get this is a video, a little bit of the background of SurfLock, and then after that I can go into more of the different design and footprints and capability.
The videos.
You can play the video.
Yeah, let me see if this works. If I play it, will I be able to share the screen? Is that possible?
It should work, yes, sir.
It should work, they said yes.
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
See, the importance of what we're trying to do with the surfing is to grow all of these sports. If it's ice, if it's surfing, we're trying to make this a strategic part to grow the sports and also include education. Is it working, Scott?
Is it? Here we go.
There we go. Oh.
That's you. Yes, man.
Everybody hear that okay?
It's not coming up.
It's not working? Is that not working?
No,
Not right now.
Okay. We'll save that for later. Apologize for that. I'll just go through, we have a retro pack on us. Can we see this?
Here it is, right there. The widescreen.
It's not.
Okay, yeah, so a little bit on us. This is everybody can see that okay?
we just have the original slides that we put up before. We're not getting anything from you.
Okay. All right, well, I'll just talk through it then.
That's it.
No, we got it.
Oh, they have it now. It's running on. Here we go.
Sorry about that.
Okay, stand by.
Yeah, no worries. And
there we go.
yeah, Terry, I could forward you some links in terms of videos if people wanted to just take a look at some of our waves in action. The first facility we had is it was a retrofit of a water park wave pool in Palm Springs, California. There's an image of that right here. This was phase one, just a proof of concept. You know, basically went from creating water park waves. We knocked out the old wave chambers, built in our new wave chambers, and we're able to create wave heights of up to 67 feet. Had surfers from all different abilities coming to surf it. So it's absolutely beautiful to see. You can see the landscape there of the mountains in the background, the blue water, having barrels and waves for all skill levels. So it really is bringing that beach and surf culture anywhere in the world. I'm from the Gulf Coast of Florida originally, from the Tampa Clearwater area. So you have the beaches, but you don't have a lot of waves. So that culture there, it's built in, and this is just delivering that. So whether it's the sporting aspect or recreation, it's just this engaging element that it's incredibly marketable, it's healthy, and then it can just really go a lot of different ways. So the idea again is just to bring waves anywhere in the world. Totally customizable. The shape, the size, the speed, the direction of the waves is all manipulated by our software on the fly. There's no mechanical moving parts in the water, so it's a very reliable, robust technology that we've refined, from its original form. So The founder and CEO of SurfLock is Tom Lochtefeld. I don't know if you've ever seen the stationary waves, the flow riders, the flow barrels that are in water parks in the back of cruise ships. So he invented that, and basically has just been laser focused on creating waves outside the ocean since basically the late 80s. So I've been doing this for quite a while. You can see some of the images here, or if you can, the different types of waves that are created all in one footprint. The beauty of that being is, wherever somebody's at in their surf journey, if they're learning or, really advanced and want to, progress, surfing was approved to be an Olympic sport. Unfortunately, it didn't happen this year with COVID, but it is penciled again. I think for Japan, the next time they will hold it. So it's a rapidly growing participation base for all types of surfers. I was just at a private project of ours in the Northeast, and it's amazing how good you can get in such a short period of time with that repetition. So again, from a competitive standpoint or just recreation, a lot of different ways, that we can have this make sense. In Mississippi, as you see here, just beginner, intermediate, advanced, all the way up to pro. We've got a few projects around the world, some pretty big ones. Palm Springs is going back into construction to double the size of the pool. And then we have some in Vegas, Sydney, Australia, outside of Dallas, Texas, and others around the world in various stages of development. So I touched on this earlier. I guess, the ability to bring waves to anywhere in the world. It's, because expensive, live by the coast. Some people don't like getting in the ocean. There's currents, there's creatures, cold water. So we're basically just eliminating all that and creating a nice, safe, man-made, controlled environment for people to enjoy the sport of surfing. And also, enhances real estate value, always consistent wave conditions. You don't have to battle crowds. So it's just removing all those barriers that people were a little, I guess, nervous about and wanting to, get their feet wet in the sport. And then, beyond just the waves comes this, this lifestyle. I mean, basically, the number one tourist attraction in the world is the beach and the ocean. And I don't think anybody can dispute that. So by doing that, but also bringing the waves with it, there's this, ripple effect of just, that lifestyle, whether it's, volleyball or yoga or stand-up paddleboarding or just this vibe, this energy that is created when you bring the waves. It's pretty incredible. And we're really excited that, we have the ability to do this and just put it anywhere in the world and still reflect the local, culture as well while we're doing that. In terms of different design options, we'll have to get down the road a little bit in terms of figuring out which one would be the best fit for this project. Beauty of the technology is it can be scaled up or down. These are just a couple of our design footprints ranging from, half of a wetted acre up to, 3 wetted acres and above. All capable of generating waves, 2, 6 feet plus, sometimes around 10 feet. So as we learn more about the project, power, water, and business model costs, can be able to propose one of these solutions, for Mississippi, but there definitely will be a fit regardless of which option we choose. So that's about it. Just a quick run around, from the SurfLock side. I'll circulate those videos if you haven't seen them already. Some pretty impressive surf action, and I don't know if we're doing any questions now, but I could happy to address that if we want to do it at the end.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. We're going to hold all questions off, and we will be doing some secondary links and contacts for everyone that's involved. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to having you as a strategic partner on our side. Thank you.
Pleasure. Take care.
I'd like to double back just for a second. Josh, can you stand up, please? As his father had indicated that Josh is going through the program at University of Southern Mississippi. He's about to graduate. So what we've done with Rick and Paul, we are going to be retaining Joshua as our direct liaison to these students that are going through the program. So now we have that experience of actually going through the programs at University of Southern Mississippi, and there'll be easier transitions for them, and he will help us go through that program. Thank you, Josh. Okay, let's move forward now. Dave, would you like to come up? Dave, Matt. Dave, not only has been a very long dear friend of mine, He's a former pro hockey player, but Dave represents ICC, International Casino Corporations, and he's representing Crystal Lagoons and a couple other projects that he's bringing to the table. He has that hockey mentality, old hockey school, so just don't get too close to him when he's been drinking.
They'll fight you.
He likes a forechecker. You be walking by, he's checking. Hockey mentality. Hey, Lauren, my name's right on it.
I love you too, Dave.
All right. I'm asked to talk about 3 companies. A little history about myself. I retired playing hockey in 1981. I don't like snow. So my wife's American. She said, let's go to Florida. And I've been out of Canada ever since. I had an opportunity to coach the Winter Olympics in 1992 in France. Didn't do much. I just had the headset on, talked to my friend behind the bench. But it was a great experience to get behind the scenes. And another friend from Chicago Blackhawks, named Philip Zero, was over in Tampa trying to get the NHL started in Tampa. That's where we all ran into after the Olympics. Once the major league said, let's go south, that wasn't just Tampa. That was Miami, that was Phoenix, that was Nashville. Well, I knew that the major leagues of hockey were coming south. And that's how I ended up having a hockey team here in Mississippi in 1996. So I was part of that East Coast Hockey League. And we did a good job. I think I was talking to Rick on the weekend. Between himself, and I'll tell you about Rick in a second, in our league, the Southern Professional League, the Western Professional League, the Central League, we did 55 million fans in 10 years in these non-traditional markets. But we messed up because we didn't build ice rinks and get the kids on ice. So this time, we're coming back around between the 2 T's, Texas and Tallahassee. This market, no question, consumed professional hockey, but they didn't know what they were watching, right? Because they're drinking too much beer and probably watching too many fights. There's one ice rink right now in Lafayette. There's no ice rink in New Orleans. There's no ice rink in Lafayette. There's no ice rink in Baton Rouge. There's no ice rink here. No ice rink in Mobile. All because the pro team was trying to come up with a new product and they didn't get to build the infrastructure. So when Terry said, come on over and have a look at the site, I said, we need to do a twin pad. What the heck's a twin pad? It's just 2 ice surfaces under one roof. So that you can change it. And one day it might be a basketball tournament until command goes on. It may be an indoor lacrosse, maybe basketball, whatever it is. So these multi-use event centers change their faces based upon the demand of the marketplace. If you only have one ice rink, it's pretty hard to have a tournament. You got 2 teams that can get on the ice at any time. So when we got into the Central Hockey League, we had 32 teams. We were playing on the part of the El Paso team. We were called the El Paso Buzzards. Here's Matt. Right? Matt's from El Paso, so we're talking about the El Paso Coliseum. In our end, we were fine, but on the other end, if you were playing against us, your goalie would always get wet because if it's raining, it would hit him in the head. That's how old the building was. It was built in like 1944 or something. So our owner said, no, we're not going to keep playing these barns. Let's go build our own. So, we got a slide of the next one that shows the Allen Event Center by chance. Okay, this is good. So Rick Kosovac on the left there was in Phoenix. You've all heard of I hope you've heard of the Los Angeles Kings. That's where Gretzky went through from Edmonton. Rick was an assistant coach for Los Angeles Kings. He was in Phoenix. So a few of his friends and mine said, let's go play hockey in these non-traditional markets out west after we did Florida. And things like Amarillo Gorillas. They had gorillas in Amarillo. Look it up. The logo's great. We were called the El Paso Buzzards. We had a team in Midland, Odessa called the Jackalopes. Jackalopes? How do you say that, Matt? Jackalope? Jackalope. It's a funny looking rabbit. Great logos.
And then you finally said, now let's go build our own. So when we did that, if you look at the Allen Event Center bottom left of the slide, that one I know a lot about because I was back in retail at the time. I did 25 years with Best Buy and Circuit City stores, opening new stores. So Allen, Texas is just outside of Dallas. That doesn't look very big, but it's actually 6,200 seats. It has 24 suites in it. It has upscale F&B. And on the left-hand side, that's the ticket part. And on the right-hand side is the car shop. So all we did is we took a big arena, like you guys have here. We cut it in half, and we did lower bowl only. And inside that same roof line is a practice room, 200 by 100. So now little Johnny can come skating. Little Susie can go figure skating. They can have their basketball tournament. Wow, there's a concert going on tonight. So they're doing this multi-use event center. And we've done, oh geez. Lake Tahoe is under construction now. Tucson soon. I think we're at 45 venues now. We did 18 renovations of these old rodeo barns. We did the one in Austin, we did one in El Paso. And this is really what we're focused on now as being someone said over 30. I'm looking at my sheet. In 1992, we dropped the puck in Tampa, so we've been at this now for 30 years, just developing ice sports. So International Coliseum is not just an ice sport company, because that's what we did as far as a living. We build first-class venues that bring in thousands and thousands of people. This one I can speak of in Allen. I think the bond was 20 years. It's paid for at the end of this year. 8 years early. It's paid because the door swings every day. There's something going on every day, which is not traditional to these venues. So as it pertains to this one, the twin pad, we don't know what size yet. We have to really get into it, see what Ken's group's going to do, and these event centers, and what really works. But about 6 or 8 months ago, I was down in Tampa, where Doug's here. I went over to the Crystal Lagoon in Wesley Chapel, because we have a 4x4 ice rinks under one roof there. And I went, whoa, check this out. So when we look at the lagoon thing. What do you talk about this? You guys have been in enough suites in your life. That's a suite, right? So small building suites, sell 20 suites at 20 grand, there's $400,000. There's the practice room. That's easy. Next one. Here we go. Crystal Lagoons. Next one. Next one. Oh, you got the video?
Video.
You might have the video. You're supposed to have the video. Anyway, the one in Tampa is 8.5 acres. It's probably got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 things around the outside of it. And I said, boy, those guys are selling water, and we sell frozen water. Why don't we put the two together? So in the last 6 or 7 months, we put together proposals that have a Crystal Lagoon with the event center on the outside, with a swim-up bar, and all kinds of different things. And since we don't have the video, shut me up for a minute. I'll go back up once we get the video going. This is really good. But I wanted to bring those two things together and let you know that in the map that we have a 10-acre site for the Crystal. We will put the twin pad event center around it. You're going to hear about something really cool. Maybe your video will work. Once you see their video, you'll get what we're talking about in the cove, in the amphitheater. Because if you look along the Gulf Coast, I live in Baldwin County, and we really appreciate you all driving past my house every weekend to go to Orange Beach, because we have white sand, and we have bars, and we have all kinds of things that are here, but no one goes to the beach here. No one goes to the beach in Lafayette. No one goes to the beach in New Orleans. No one goes to the beach in Baton Rouge, because, quite frankly, it's not very safe. So this 10-acre lagoon brings that first quality beach here, and then we layer in all the sports. We saw a fantastic presentation about the wave machine. You're about to hear something really cool from these guys about the Aquatic Foundation. And all we have is we just layer in the event center beside it.
and we changed the programming based upon market conditions. That's pretty well it. Last thing I want to say is, I've known Terry now for about 6 years, and this is an awful lot of work to get this going on, and all these costs, and you fellas, the guys in LA, some of them Lauren, and all this is a tremendous amount of work. And we should say thank you to this man for the job. Hopefully we can all get together, get around the table, get the shovel in the ground, and get this thing going. Because the Olympics are coming up very soon, regardless if they have a pandemic or not. We hope to see some Olympic athletes here on the coast. Okay. Good. Yes, thank you, Dave. What I'll do is, if you could please everyone make sure we have your email address. And we'll send you the link to the videos of Crystal Lagoon, which is very impressive. And Dave, the spokesperson for Crystal Lagoon is Michael Phelps. He's the official spokesperson. So what I like to do now is I like to bring Ken, Bill, and Dave up. So I met these gentlemen quite a few years ago when they were just the Aquatic Foundation, and they were going into South Florida. When I went through the program of why South Florida transportation was an issue, and we presented the Mississippi Gulf Coast. They love the facility. They love everything about it. We walked yesterday. So we actually stole this project from South Florida from all of them. So to this day, when you go into South Florida, there's cameras looking for me. I can't go into Florida. So. But at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Ken and IASF.
Thank you, Terry. Yeah, we appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Terry mentioned that we were originally the International Aquatic Foundation, and we were founded in 2007. With that came other groups that said, you know, that's a great idea. We'd like to kind of partner in with you. And so now we're working with other Olympic organizing bodies, such as gymnastics, volleyball, and many others. We reformed or reincorporated in 2012 as the International Aquatic and Sports Foundation, so that the floor sport activities also fall under our domain. What we do, and I think the piece that is most impressive right now for us is that we've been searching for a location where it was possible and financially feasible to create a facility that is both a training center and an event center. And around the United States, that just doesn't exist. And actually, it doesn't exist pretty much anywhere in the world. But when we began, can we go to the next slide? Let's pick it up from there. One of the things that has really jump-started what we're trying to do is the incredible support that high diving is getting all around the world. And Joey Zubler, who is the former world champion, has come on to our board of directors. Joey is not only a member of the Australian Olympic organization, but he is also number one world champion. And secondly, he is also a representative of FINA. Now, FINA is the international body that runs the Olympic Games for all aquatic sports: swimming, diving, water polo, synchronized swimming, which is now artistic swimming. They've changed their identity. And we're going to talk a little bit more today about our phase one. And phase one of our project is to bring the high dive. Why do we want to do that first? Number one, there is nowhere in planet Earth other than China where teams from anywhere else in the United States or anywhere else in the world can train. And as you might imagine, with the COVID virus, most people are not really anxious to go to China or pretty much anywhere else. They are being hampered by the fact that they don't have facilities available to them in their own home countries. All of those facilities, as they are in the United States, are being closed for training and recreational and competitive purposes. So our phase one is going to concentrate on the high dive. And can we go to the next slide? Now, high diving and cliff diving are fundamentally the same sport. They're done from all kinds of locations, buildings, outcroppings of mountains. What, Bill, 2 or 3 years ago, they had what, 70,000? Yeah, 86,000 participants, not participants in diving. It's a little too high for most folks. But 86,000 people watching a cliff diving event in Spain, Portugal, Italy, I'm sorry. It'll be on the video. We'll pick that up. Before I go any further, I want to introduce Bill Humber. Bill is the vice president of our foundation, but Bill is the former executive director of the International Swimming Hall of Fame in Fort Lauderdale. Bill has joined with our organization. He actually helped to form it. Bill and I started this in 2007, and we're still working. David Scruggs is our project engineer. He is the one who keeps us up to speed on how it's going to work in terms of the construction, the design, the development, and so on. I'm going to let David talk in a few minutes about the other groups that we're bringing in to help us do that. Next slide. Well, we've kind of covered that. High diving and cliff diving are essentially the same thing. They're just done, one's from custom towers, and the other is being done from rock outcroppings, tops of buildings, you name it, they've been there. How many of you have seen the Red Bull series, either on YouTube or I know they come on television pretty quickly, ESPN and so on. So a number of you, okay, good. So you have some familiarity with the height. The Olympic Committee has now adopted the standards for high diving, and that will be an Olympic sport in 2024. But for the time being, they're done from customized towers and also from buildings. Next slide. The future of the sport, the FINA World Cup is an ongoing event right now. Red Bull Series is now it's underway, but it's being hampered again by the coronavirus that all of us are being hampered by. It says the Olympic discipline by 2020, that's been moved to 2024. Next slide. Facility use overview. What we have done up to now is develop a relationship with both Red Bull and also with the FINA organization. What they want and what they would like to see us do is develop a training and event center through our project here in Mississippi. The men dive from 27 meters up. For those of you who are not familiar with meters, that's 10 stories. Imagine jumping off this 10-story building. That's not my cup of tea, but there are a lot of people who are doing it. It is under development through Red Bull, and they have provided, do we have that other PowerPoint? The one that was done for MISD?
Yeah, hang on one second. Let's get the original one.
Well, that's okay. If we don't have it, we'll just keep going. But Red Bull has come on board with us. We've talked to them for several years. since Joey Zuber came on our board. And Red Bull has now said, look, we'll support you any and every way we can. So their director for the Red Bull World Championship Series is a gentleman by the name of Joey Zuber. They have also co-opted, Joey has moved on to do some other things with FINA, but for those of you who have enough gray hair to remember Greg Louganis, he is the most decorated diver in Olympic history, and former babysitter for Bill Humber's son. But Greg is now involved with Red Bull and also with FINA, and we are going to be working through him to develop a relationship that will come with us to this facility. There will be training and development going on here all year long. There are two, I don't know if you can see these letters very well, but there's a letter from USA Diving, and the director of USA Diving is also a member of our board of directors, but he was very careful to say, gee, we really hope that you can get to this facility up in time to bid on the 2024 Olympic trials. And that is our phase one objective, is to be prepared to do just that. Bill, your background is diving. You want to make some comments, or want to just keep going? Okay. The next slide. The case study. Well, I hope I can read this. The initial case study on media, this was done through Red Bull. They have collected this data. There are 1.4 billion contacts in 2014. 1.4 billion.
That's insistent. I mean, that's ridiculous. And there were almost 90-something thousand people watching. If you go over this with the numbers,
okay. Basically, what it comes down to is that through FINA TV, a network that exists all around the world, we would be able to reach well over 1 billion people with each and every event that we host here that is part of an international grouping. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, Zoom can't hear you.
The American athletes right now, and there's 6 in this country, high divers, they're having to go to Canada to train, and they're in the 1976 Olympic pool, and they're having to dive out of the rafters in that pool in order to train. That still leaves them with over 3 stories high. So that means that these athletes are going to these competitions and they're throwing the dives cold. They haven't thrown from 27 meters. And the only place they can go to train is in China. And that training facility there is all portable. It's scaffolding. So our American athletes are subjected to having to go there to do any planning.
Thanks, Bill. Again, getting back to where we are today, we're looking at developing phase one with the high dive, and after some discussion with Dave McPherson, what we're looking to do is to combine the high diving venue along with the Crystal Lagoon, which will create an incredible visual to be programmed and sent out through FINA TV, through ESPN and other networks where it will be seen all over the world. The relationship that we have through swimming with the International Swim Coaches Association, they have 25,000 coaches in 240 countries, and they will become a part of our development. And they will be moving, once we're built, they will be moving their operations center from Virginia to Mississippi. They will have their offices in our facility. We will be doing all of the educational programs, all of what's on the internet and available. We'll go out to all of these 25,000 coaches in 240 countries around the world. So this will truly be an international sports destination. We anticipate, and this was done in a study in 2010. So it really, this is a minimum kind of number. But we anticipate with the sports that we will have under our roof, this will increase this area by 1.5 million room nights a year once we're fully operational. I can't begin to tell you how much money that is, but according to the Trent Center for Economic Development, they told us that the economic impact over the first 10 years would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 to $7 billion coming to the coast. That's not coming here now. That's all brand new money, and it is repetitive because these events will bring the same athletes and more back to Mississippi each time a new event is done. So we are really thrilled to be here. I know there's going to be a lot of questions. So, pardon? Yeah, if we can cue up the video, that was going to be the last piece. And I'll let the video do the talking this time. And our good friend Joey Zuber from Australia.
Take it on.
Yes.
The sport of diving and now high diving can shine brightly together. We are taking these sports to greater heights than ever before. And we're not just referring to the height of the platform. High diving is thrilling the crowd, and we're reaching record highs in terms of TV, print, and web-based exposure. Despite a commonly held belief that high divers are daredevils, these athletes are amongst the most disciplined and well-trained in the world. This sport is truly professional, with clear regulations and codes to ensure its place in history. The rules derive from diving, and the skills are performed in a similar fashion, with the exceptions of landing feet first. Former Olympic divers and Olympic medalists have successfully transitioned to high diving, which demonstrates the high technical standard we're seeing in competitions. Diving and high diving already play a vital role together. These two codes will continue to support each other in a thriving community of international athletes. There are three pathways to consider for the future development of athletes. Firstly, there are junior pathways with feet-first competitions from 10 meter platforms in conjunction with dives from 16 meters. Secondly, there are great opportunities for elite divers transitioning to high diving. Thirdly, the maintenance and development of skills for active high divers. High diving can provide career opportunities and a lifestyle choice which importantly keeps people actively involved in aquatic sports. Hosting high diving competitions can be a new and attractive way to put your federation and your country on the map. This sport makes it exciting viewing for the spectators on site. At one location in France, there was an impressive turnout of 70,000 informed spectators. In addition, it provides accelerating action for the TV audiences. One new and exciting prospect is the portable diving pool, which was used for the very first time at the FIBA World Championships in Budapest. And what makes this pool so unique? Gives you the potential to take it to where the crowds are. It can be conveniently placed in front of famous backdrops, such as the Eiffel Tower or London Tower Bridge, which of course provides spectacular images. In summary, high diving events can have a tremendous economic effect on your nation. Be sure, diving and high diving is here to stay.
Now, beyond this phase one, which will include the high diving venue, we will go on to develop an indoor natatorium facility that has which is referred to as a stretch 50-meter pool, so that it meets all the FEMA requirements. World records can be set and recorded. But beyond just that part of the facility, we also have what's called warm water therapy, so that programming for the community for instructional swimming lessons, diving, water polo, synchronized swimming, which we have kids starting at age 6 getting involved in that. It's great to watch these kids. But we will also have facilities through exercise physiologists, physicians, sports medicine people, physical therapy. All of these modalities will be available to serve not only the athletes training, but also the people who live in this community. And that includes people, as I mentioned, the warm water therapy group, people with diabetes who suffer from diabetic neuropathy find it very difficult to get any kind of exercise in to strengthen the heart and the blood vessels and the rest of the body. One of the things we can provide is a tool that allows them, through the buoyancy factor, to take that weight off of their feet so that we can provide training and health programming of all kinds through the both warm water therapy as well as the open pool facilities, so that they can swim. Those that can that have full motor capability can also use the other facilities as well. And that includes dry land, which involves weights. We work a lot with the law of specificity training, and those kinds of features have to be done in very specific kinds of units, whether it's in weights or stretching or in the pool. And that also, by the way, involves groups like gymnastics, judo, and other sports. So it's going to be a very large, very serviceable facility, as I mentioned before, not only for those people who want to train, but also as an event venue. And that's the big difference. That's what will bring tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world to this area. And yes, please go to our website. It's now up and running. Can we get that screen up here?
The website.
Well, if we don't have it, it's www.iasfusa.org. And we would appreciate you going to the site and getting over the rest of the programming that we're offering. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. For those on all the different locations that are viewing this through the internet, we are actually broadcasting not only across the United States, but we're in several countries that are viewing this. One of the things you may want to do is to go to MISD, www.misd.us. And on that, you will see the link to the IASF. And the key to all of this is, before we go to break, is several things. We're coming into time frames, closing on the property, strategically moving forward. They are launching their website, their donation website, which is going to go to 240 countries very soon. The producers are going to start the documentary. So all of these things are going to come out in a very short period of time. So us as MISD, the developer, we need to control these time frames and these press releases. Remember what I said in the very beginning. If you don't walk away with anything else, recognize the marketing potential of all of your companies, all your associations, to have that network of marketing to all of these organizations around the world to come to Mississippi. You can't buy that. So in closing, right now we're going to take a 15-minute break. I appreciate everybody and all of the people that are on the Zoom. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you'd like to stick around, we're going to come back for questions and answers. But at this point, let's take a break, and I hope everyone enjoyed it.